Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm going to keep the tradition going from yesterday of sharing a quirky anecdote before I speak. So as we heard yesterday and we've discussed in panels, Google keeps track of all of our browsing information, whether we browse while we're logged into our Gmail accounts or if we use the Chrome browser. And you can actually check your profile and see what Google has to say your preferences are. And so the first time several years ago I logged into my preferences, it said that I was a middle-aged male computer programmer who plays golf. None of which is true, so maybe it doesn't tell you that much about me, but it tells you about what data analytics thinks of me. So I'm here from the MIT Mobile Experience Lab, and I'll explain a little bit about who we are and what we do in a moment, but I just want to preface my talk this morning by saying that we are a design research lab, meaning that research is our input and design of products, services, mobile applications, platforms, things like this are our outputs. And I'm here to talk today about the future of mobile as it occurs at our lab, and in particular about pervasive mobile computing. There we go. Okay, so I don't need to tell this crowd that mobile phones today are more powerful than ever. And many of you may be familiar with this quote from Kaku's Physics of the Future. Today your cell phone has more computing power than all of NASA in 1969 when it placed 2 astronauts on the moon. So not only are cell phones today more powerful, but they're also a clear example of convergence. And I use the term convergence here to mean the tendency for different technological systems to evolve towards performing similar tasks. So not only are the voice, data, and camera aspects of your phones replacing other devices, such as point-and-shoot cameras. I think it's unlikely that anybody in the audience today would have brought a point-and-shoot camera to document today's event. But it means that all of these types of interactions are happening within a single device. So this overlap and interaction of features has led to an expansion in the role of the phone. And we've seen this through NFC and QR codes, ubiquitous computing, responsive environments. Mobile devices are now part of physical digital ecosystems. And the products and services designed for phones have broader implications on the physical world around us. Our devices now directly inventory, control, interact with the physical objects and our environments. So to research and design the future of mobile, we really need to think holistically, and we need to think about the ecosystem of products and services that impact the mobile phone. There we go. A clear and tangible example of the impact of mobile phones on products, physical products in our environment, is that of Steelcase's gesture chair. And the chair as espoused by Steelcase is being designed based solely around our interactions with mobile devices. Through studying human behavior's interactions with mobile devices, they uncovered new postures, and they used this to inspire the type of limb, lumbar, core, and supports that were incorporated into the chair. So while this product is not something that was designed at the lab, I use it as an example of a very tangible on-market solution of a product that was derived directly from the advancements of mobile technologies. They use the observations of human behavior with mobile devices, and they use that to inspire the design. The mobile phone is almost always just one point of entry into the larger ecosystem of the product you're creating. At the Mobile Experience Lab, we always approach problems in this horizontal, holistic, and agile way. We treat mobile devices as one touch point in the larger system. So a project from the lab that I'd like to share with you that is really exemplary of this type of thinking was designed and implemented in 2006. And I just want to note that I'm going to be bouncing around in terms of projects from 2006 and more recent projects to give you an idea of the legacy that the lab has in thinking about these sort of problems, and to note that these problems are not new, and we've been thinking about them for a while. So here you can see we were given a very broad prompt. The municipality of Brescia, Italy came to us and said, how can we increase trust between youth and law enforcement in Italy, and how can we reduce hostility? And through research, we discovered that the largest point of contention was that of drunk driving. So we began to look for ways to solve problems through digital services. So we designed a mobile application paired with a wearable device called RideLink. Youth could actually join the platform through a web interface, And it was treated as a social network. So please keep in mind this is in 2006, so Facebook had not yet reached mass effect. And what we did is we created something that we called tribes. So people would select individuals that they wanted to be closest to them, that they would be comfortable sharing personal information with. Again, 2006, no such thing as Google Circles. So here you can see a regular student getting ready for a night out, and he puts on our wearable device. He's now able to go to the bar and enjoy drinks with friends, knowing that he'll be able to have a ride home if need be. The phone and mobile application update the GPS. So now those people within his tribe can find out where he is, but again, these are select people that he's chosen to know this information. And at the end of the night, after several drinks, he can leave the pub, blow into the bracelet, which is actually a breathalyzer, and it'll tell whether or not he's safe to drive. If he's not safe to drive, a notification is sent to his tribe via mobile phone, and they're able to pick him up and know exactly where he is based on his GPS location. So I'm not actually going to play the full video for you because it's quite long. Thank you. Okay, so it's worth noting that we don't only think of our designs holistically in this way, but we actually go through the entire process from conducting the research to producing the product. So in that way, it's also holistic. And so here you can see a 3D printed prototype that we printed in the lab in 2006, and this is an early prototype of the bracelet. And so we printed this because we wanted to be able to iterate on our design. We wanted to make sure that the bracelet was ergonomic. We wanted to make sure that it was able to dissipate air around the breathalyzer sensor, and we wanted to make sure that it had enough room for the sensors needed to conduct the transactions. So as I was saying, this project is really exemplary when you think about the mobile as just one touch point in an ecosystem. The solution for this project was really a toolkit, literally a kit of parts. And we mailed these kit of parts to several hundred youth in Brescia, Italy, and the project was actually really a success. So you can see it's 2006, you can tell by the Nokia phone that's shown here, but the Nokia phone had the app loaded on it. It came with a card explaining the service and how to sign up online. And it came with this bracelet, which included a charger at the time because you had to charge your bracelet. Oop, too far. So another project, this is from 2012, that's really exemplary of this type of thinking, is that of the Tangible Banking Project. And so we had a sponsor who was a bank come to us and ask for us to design digital services to help kids learn about money and savings. And what we realized is that the tangibility of money is really important for kids to be able to learn about the value and the complexity of currency. So we not only designed a kid-friendly platform that you can see on the tablet here, but we also designed a toy. And this toy, which looks similar to a piggy bank, was a way for kids to be able to understand the tangibility of currency while still having the convenience of transactions digitally that their parents could monitor, and that they could start to visually understand through this graphic interface the idea of savings and even budgeting. So here I'll show another video clip that explains this idea.
In the age of online banking, how might we reinvent the way kids interact and learn with money? The Mobile Experience Lab is exploring new interactions between tangible objects and touchscreen devices such as tablets. In this technological sketch, kids interact with their own online savings account using a personalized toy as a tangible interface. Each toy stores digital spending.
Here, but what you can see is that the toy was also intended to be used with NFC properties. So it was intended to extend the idea of, say, a mobile wallet so that kids could actually use this to pay, say, for their school lunches or candy at a local store, something like this. And I think these two projects also show the level of development that we go through. So with the Ride Link, we built these toolkits. They actually were built wearable devices with the mobile phone, and we deployed it. This project acts more as a prototype. And this is really what the lab is all about. We use our personal devices to unlock potential in the physical world, and we design experiences that connect people, places, and information in meaningful ways. So what I've shown with these examples is that the connection between place and network is growing increasingly stronger. And the connection between network and participation in location has already reached mass effect. And you can see this through simple services like Foursquare, and we saw some panels yesterday that talk about these issues. And so these simple services are one example, but then there are also much more complex tools that are being developed, such as this, a collective memory model. And this collective memory model is actually an algorithm generated at the University of Washington, where they took 150,000 images from Flickr and generated 3D digital models of buildings in the city of Rome, Venice, and the Croatian capital of Dubrovnik. And so you can see that mobile phones are not only impacting the products around us, but also the built environment itself. And they're reimagining the ways we think about the use of data that we collect with these devices. So another project from the lab, this again is from 2006, we were asked here to reimagine the future of transportation nodes and bus stops, and we were asked to overlay and explore these ideas of place and space. So here we were asked by the Transportation Authority in Paris, how can people be connected digitally while being connected physically simultaneously? So our bus stops became not only entry points into the transportation system, but into the happenings of the community. Here, the bus stop was designed in conjunction with a digital platform. The platform was reachable by both mobile phone and through the touchscreen interface on the bus itself. And as I said, this was in 2006, so we couldn't simply affix iPads to the side of the bus stop. The entire ecosystem was built from scratch. These two touchscreens and the mobile application were a way of accessing information stored within that bus stop. And these digital services were similar to, say, Craigslist. You could post jobs, leave messages, request services, sell items, share music and pictures, and you can see in the bottom corner an image of the interface on the touchscreen. So the bus stop itself was designed and built entirely within the lab space, shipped to Paris, disassembled, shipped to Paris, and reassembled. And the physical design of the bus stop was also created generatively, meaning we wrote an algorithm that would take into consideration the site and context of the bus stop. So was the bus stop on a hill? Did it wrap a corner? It would find the ideal geometry, and then it would include things like shade, seating, and the incorporation of our touchscreens. And so the built form that you see in the photos and in this video are really just one in a family of bus stops that we designed based on different site conditions around Paris. And you can see here that there was a screen on the exterior of the bus stop, which we also designed and built ourselves. And you can see in the bottom corner, it's a Charlie-plexed LED matrix encased in silicone. And what this meant was that we had a flexible, modular screen that was also weatherproof for the exterior of this bus stop. And so the images that were projected on the bus stop were actually that of a garden. And the health of the garden was determined on the interactivity of the people in the community using the bus stop. So if this was a very busy bus stop and people were really engaged in the digital platform, then the garden was very healthy and there were a lot of flowers. If not, if it was either in a remote location or people just weren't using the platform, then it was just grass blowing. And in this way, it was a real-time data visualization of the happenings of the community and the connectivity, the physical connectivity of the people in these transportation nodes, all in a single place. And this bus stop itself was left in Paris for about 9 months, and many of these elements are now being included in the tramway systems that are being installed throughout the city of Paris currently. Okay, so the examples I've just shown demonstrate how mobile phones impact the world around us, and how to design innovatively. You must think about the objects and spaces they impact. So how do we do it? We think horizontally. And in order to design and research innovative strategies and solutions for mobile devices, we cannot only look to mobile devices. If you want to innovate on a digital service, but all you look at are phones and apps, chances are you'll end up with a phone and an app. So in terms of holistic innovation, we look for the intersections between technological innovation, experiential design research, and value propositions or revenue models. And we look for human-centric, technologically driven solutions, and we look for an overlap between these three things, because it's really where the friction and where the overlap happens where innovation can occur. So in terms of lab composition, we're interdisciplinary in nature, and we have researchers from any number of backgrounds. And we look for people who can wear multiple hats. So we look for the architect with a bachelor's degree in computer science, we look for the graphic designer going for their MBA, and it's these sorts of people that we find can think horizontally. In terms of composition, globally, we are currently representing 12 countries and historically 35, and we're also intergenerational. We have undergraduates, graduates, postdocs, and visiting scholars, some with years of experience. And as these people leave the lab, graduate, start their own companies, we have an ever-expanding network of professionals and industry experts that we can call back at any time. And I bring this up because we're a group of 40. And 40 for an MIT research lab is huge. Often they range 3 to 10 people. And so to have this sort of interdisciplinary composition, to represent 12 countries currently, this is actually, we're covering a lot of ground with a few people. And additionally, our research structures are literally aligned horizontally. We cover a range of market sectors. And as you can see from our body of work, we work with banks, hotels, telecoms, healthcare providers, educational institutions. And by focusing and becoming experts on the interactions and services, we then can move fluidly across these market sectors. And by moving fluidly, we're able to always have a fresh eye on the problem. So there's one last project from the lab that I want to leave you with, and that's the Chopboard. And I believe that this prototype is most exemplary of our ability to think, design, and prototype in an agile and horizontal way. The prompt for the project was how to design new digital services for tablets and cooking. So the project was part of the IO Hackathon conference at the Media Lab, and the design and implementation of the project took 4 researchers a weekend to complete. Here you can see many of the participants of the hackathon working on their various solutions in the lab space. So the ingenuity of this project is that the team realized that while other groups were looking at ways of personalizing recipes or figuring out what you can cook from what you have in your kitchen, the team realized that you can't use a tablet in the kitchen because your hands are messy. So they extended the functionality of the tablet to the cutting board itself, an interface that you naturally use in the kitchen. So here you control, and again, this is a prototype created in a weekend, but you control the tablet through 2 capacitive sensors on either side of the board. There's LED lights in rings in the center of the board, and that would indicate, it would sync with your recipe and indicate how much you should chop as you're looking at the recipe on your touchscreen. So again, the entire thing was designed and built in lab facilities in just under 48 hours. Images in this video are really interesting because it really shows you the type of culture and the type of space that we have within the lab. And you can see the functionality that I was just discussing. And you can see, I mean, literally it was a weekend, and we needed people who could do the design, who could do the programming, who would be able to work with the electronics, all within a really short amount of time. And you can see here that researchers are looking for ways to extend the innovation of the digital world into our physical realm. Ubiquitous computing has truly merged the layers of physical and digital. And so I'm going to pause that here. Okay. So in closing, if you want to better understand the future of mobile, its ingenuity lies in the ecosystem of solutions surrounding the mobile itself. Horizontal and agile thinking is the best way to rapidly innovate and unlock the potential in these physical and digital ecosystems. So I thank you for your time this morning, and if you're interested in learning more about the lab, you can go to mobile.mit.edu or follow us on Twitter at MIT_MEL. Are there any questions or comments?